Hey guys, it's Megan
and Liz, and welcome back to Noted, the podcast where we just talk about the crazy things that have happened in our careers, influencer stuff, just kind of spilling some general tea. So this episode is all about just story time. So this is a general story time about our craziest celeb stories, our craziest influencer stories, just some of the weird stuff that we can't really put in a box.
Also, like, they're not all weird. Like, some of them are cool.
Some of them are cool, but we tried to pick some of the most just how did we end up in these situations that only we could have ended up in our very niche, weird career.
It happened a lot, too.
So, I don't know. Do you want to start off with, like, celeb stories?
Yeah, I think we should kick it off with the kicker, you know, Miss Tay Swift.
We could talk about Taylor Swift all day.
Yeah.
And she obviously had a huge impact on our career a couple of different times. So obviously the Oprah thing, which if you're listening to this podcast and you don't know the Oprah thing,
please go look it up on YouTube.
And also, how are you here? Like,
yeah.
if you don't know the Oprah thing, like, how are you taking the time to listen to this podcast?
No, it's actually shocking, though. I feel like a lot of people actually don't know about that.
Okay, well, for those of you who don't know, the one person who doesn't know about the Oprah thing,
go look it up on YouTube.
But you give them a rundown.
So basically, when we were 16 years old, juniors in high school, we thought we were auditioning for an episode of Oprah where they were doing YouTube singers.
And then we got an email and everything.
Yeah, it was from Harpo Studios. So it was like legit. And we were supposed to be auditioning with the producers, and they sent like a laptop, and we had to do like an internet test, like, and it was this whole big thing. And so we got off of school. We scheduled it after we got out of school,
because we were in high school,
real high school. And we were sitting there waiting, and it was a Friday, and we were cheerleaders at the time, and we had to go cheer at a football game. Like, it was an away game. We had to like meet the bus at school. So the producers were, quote, running late. And
we were sitting set up in front of this Skype kit that they had sent us, and
ready to go.
We could see ourselves in one of the little boxes, and then we could just see like the Oprah logo just like shimmering in the other box, and that's all we could see. And my mom was corresponding with the producers.
Yeah, and she was like, you know, these girls, like, they can't miss this game, like, they'll get kicked off the cheerleading squad.
And we've been waiting. It wasn't like it was 20 minutes.
No, it was like 2 hours, I think.
Yeah, probably totally around 2 hours.
So we're sitting there, and the producers, one of them texted my mom and was like, trust me, like, you want to keep waiting, basically. Yeah. And my mom didn't tell us this. She was just like, stick it out, guys, like, it's Oprah. Like,
yeah, this is the biggest, this might be the make or break of your career. Like, you can, you can hang out.
And we knew that, but, you know, high school's such a bubble, and you're like,
we were just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, and we're goody two.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, Oprah pops on the screen, not the producers. And at first, we both thought that, like, they'd made us wait so long that they were going to play an Oprah rerun to, like, entertain us.
We were like, that's nice.
And then she goes, hello, Megan and Liz. And, like, everything you see after that is our genuine reaction to Oprah coming on our computer screen in Edwardsburg, Michigan.
Yes. So then what happens with Taylor is Oprah says, well, you know, we saw your cover of White Horse by Taylor Swift, and we really loved it. And we were like, wow, thank you, Oprah. And then she goes, oh, you know, someone else saw it and wants to say hello too. And it pans over, and it's Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. She goes, hey, Megan and Liz, it's Taylor. And then obviously we scream our heads off.
Yeah.
And then she invites us to her concert in Chicago, literally the next night. And our whole reaction was genuine. And so the very next day, Oprah sent a limo and producers to our house. The whole thing was filmed too, and I like really wish that we could get that footage somehow, but it's probably like locked away forever. But it was like us meeting Taylor, us meeting her mom. Her mom gave us like a whole tour of the backstage, and this was in Chicago, so it was Allstate Arena, I think.
And they set us up at the Omni Hotel, which was probably the nicest hotel we'd ever stayed in. And they gave us like food vouchers. Like Oprah like hooked us up.
Yeah.
But meeting Taylor, well, let's just talk the whole experience and being on Oprah truly set off our career. Like it gave us some cred that at the time no other like YouTube creators had, because everyone else was just, oh, you're in this weird corner of the internet. But it put us in a category that was like, yes, we're in this weird corner of the internet, but we've been recognized on a scale that is
like a national scale.
Yeah, a national scale. It was a complete game changer.
That's how like a few people, like we got some radio interviews from that.
Yes.
Like we got some management contacts. I don't think that's how our management label actually ultimately ended up finding us, but it was on our page, so it made us look good.
It was a huge building block in the terms of our career.
So that's why Taylor Swift.
And meeting her for the first time. Let's talk about that. We talked about it a little bit on the Fluently Forward podcast about what it was like to meet her in person for the first time.
She was so tall.
She was very tall. Well, we're really short.
Yeah. I guess I just wasn't expecting. I also didn't think I ever realized how we were short for the earth until you meet somebody that's like not.
Yeah. And she was obviously so kind and so nice. And the whole thing was filmed for the Oprah show. So, I mean, of course, I think she's a nice person anyways, which we will circle back to that. There was a point where we met her where it wasn't filmed and she was just as kind. But at this point, it was like being filmed and we were just like, oh my gosh.
I don't remember a drop of it, to be quite honest.
No, I don't either. I know. I wish we had that footage.
Like I blacked out.
Yeah. But her appearance, we kept saying she looked like a wax figure.
Yes.
And that's just one thing we kept saying to each other. We're like, she looks just like a wax figure.
Yeah.
And looking back now, we kind of think that she may have had Botox.
I don't know though. She was young.
She was young, but she was so in the industry.
Yeah. You never know. And that was before Botox was like kind of talked about a lot and stuff.
Yeah.
Too.
And she was dating Taylor Lautner.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And we were walking back to our seats in the pit, which I'm forever spoiled by Taylor Swift shows because we saw the Fearless tour in the pit.
That is so crazy.
But yeah, we were like, they were walking us back to our seats and we saw this little golf cart pull up with Taylor in the front, and then like Taylor Lautner was like on the back of the golf cart, and he was like, and we like waved because we're Twilight fans at this point. Like that's so embarrassing. We should have played it cool.
We were 16-year-old high school cheerleaders from Edwardsburg, Michigan.
Like we were gonna wave to Taylor Lautner.
Yeah, we were gonna wave to Taylor Lautner, and Megan took so many photos of Taylor Lautner.
Oh my gosh, we'll post them.
Yeah,
they're so like I zoomed so far in on my little Nikon Cool Pics camera.
And then just a little fun fact for the listeners, I was in charge of uploading all of the photos.
Oh my god, I forgot.
From this life-changing once in a lifetime event. I uploaded them all from our little Cool Pics to our iMac, and I somehow managed to delete all of them.
Somehow mom recovered them.
Yeah, she did some crazy computer magic and recovered every single photo. But you guys, to this day, I think I won't. No. Like I cannot handle the responsibility of anything important.
It's just scarred you for anything digital.
Yes, I'm like, because I will never forget that I deleted every photo of us with Taylor Swift at the Taylor Swift concert.
I think I cried.
You definitely cried.
Yeah.
I cried. My mom probably cried. Like it was absolutely devastating
turn of events.
It was.
Oh, and then not to mention, in the next morning, I awoke with the flu.
Oh my god, yeah, no, it was the craziest time. She was sick as a dog.
It's never been that sick in my entire life.
But it was a quick turnaround for like the show because you were still sick when the show actually aired. Or yeah, because you were at the doctor. I watched the Oprah show by myself in the house because my mom and Megan were like at the doctor because Megan was so sick.
Never been that sick in my life.
Yeah.
And Liz was like famous at school.
Oh my gosh.
And I missed it all.
I felt so bad that you missed it. It was truly, oh my gosh. Like, because they played it in a bunch of classes. They like brought the TV and like played the episode. And then they also like did a loudspeaker announcement about it to the whole school.
And I was just at home rotting.
Yeah. And all of the kids were like, wow, like I saw you on TV. And I was like, thanks.
Let's So cool.
But anyway, so that's our first experience with Taylor Swift. Do you just want to stick with Taylor Swift since we're on it?
The second one was, let's see, that was 2009. So what, 3 years later.
That is not that long.
That's really not that long.
Oh my gosh, is that really only 3 years later?
Yes. In 2012, when we were playing the iHeartRadio show, and this picture, again, you've seen it. If you followed us for any amount of time, you've seen this picture of us with Taylor. It was the second, we had already performed the night before, and it was the second night, and Taylor was performing the second night at the iHeartRadio Music Festival, and our manager came to our hotel room and was like, listen, I can get you into Taylor Swift's rehearsal for iHeart like that night. And of course we were like, yeah, we'll go be creepy and sit. But there were other people in there too.
Yeah. And it was an opportunity that we were like, I mean, if we didn't love Taylor Swift before, which we did. Yeah. This was at her, when was this?
This was right when I think I Knew You Were Trouble had just come out.
Yes, I think you're right. I don't think Red had come out yet.
No, it was like about to.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was right when Red was about to come out, and we didn't anticipate to meet her again. Like, we were just lucky enough to sit in her rehearsal, which was a huge deal.
But then I saw our manager, Grover. He was chatting with, was it Mark? They were like chatting like in a secretive way. And Liz and I were like, why are they being weird? And then Grover's like, let's just go backstage. And then we're like standing back there, and then Taylor's like back there. Yeah. And she was talking to somebody else, and we were just like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, we can see her like up close. Yeah. And then she like walks up to us. Yeah. And we were just like,
and she was just like, hey girls, like, so good to see you. Like, congratulations on everything, because she knew that we had like won the iHeartRadio contest and everything. And she said, I love your song Bad for Me.
Yeah. She said, I hear it all the time on the radio in Nashville.
And she went, oh, feels so good, but just so bad for me. Like, Taylor Swift sang us our song.
Truly an out-of-body experience.
And that is something that I'll keep forever.
I
will keep that in my pocket. I will hold it close to my heart.
Margot will know about it. My grandchildren will know about it.
I won't shut up about it.
No.
Ever. We should bring it up more, honestly.
And then we took a picture, and we took another one, and we like showed them to her, and she was like, well, I think it's just one of those days. And I was like, felt.
So she didn't love the photo.
She didn't love the photo.
Yeah, but sorry, Taylor, we posted it.
Yeah.
Everywhere. She still looked great. Like,
she did.
But it was a nice moment for her to be like human.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to say earlier, where it was like before, when it was for the Oprah cameras, it was like anybody for the Oprah cameras can be nice. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, these girls, Oprah, blah, blah, blah. But this time was purely, she just wanted to be a good person and wanted to be nice to us.
And it was on like an industry level where like she didn't really know us.
Yeah.
You know? Like, she could have been like, oh, I have to go or something. Yeah, like, she didn't have to do that.
But she did.
And
she like made it so personal, and we are fans forever. Because of that. We would have been fans forever before that, but because of that, it's just forever.
Locked in.
Okay, talking about another person that we met that was somebody that really shook us.
I can tell you, I think I know where you're going to go.
Yeah.
Is it Katy Perry?
It's Katy Perry. This was, again, a situation that like we were on the same level, which is so crazy to me.
Yeah.
We were recording in Conway Studios, which is where Taylor records. It's where Katy records.
Literally, like, everybody records at
Conway Studios in LA. And we were there recording a radio edit for our song Release You, which is a song that we wrote with Max Martin and Shellback. And if you don't know, like, the Radio Disney edit, it's basically, we had to say things that were a little cleaner.
Yeah. So we listened back to that the other day, and I was like, that's so embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing.
Anyway.
So we were just there recording vocals. Like, we were not writing, we were not doing anything crazy. We were there for like maybe an hour, and we were just sitting in like not the vocal booth, but the part where you just like hang out. And we see Katy walk by, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's Katy Perry.
And it was just Shellback that day, wasn't it? I don't think Max was in there. Yeah.
Yes. So we see Katy Perry.
And Shellback, literally, he sees us lose our shit.
Yeah.
Like, he sees us, and did he call her in there? Or did she just walk in?
She just walked in. I think she knew because at the time, this was Teenage Dream Katy Perry. She was literally still on Teenage Dream.
Yeah, it was like she was recording
Prism,
yeah. So like Roar, I think maybe had been out, or she was about to put out Roar.
Yeah, but she had worked with Max and Shellback, so she was like friends with them.
Yeah,
and I think that she knew that Shellback was there, so she was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go say hi really quick." And so she like walks in the studio. We're standing there like frozen. Here's the thing, like with Katy, we weren't expecting it. With Taylor, we were expecting it. So I think we could like ground ourselves a little bit and be like, okay, like
we went into that studio that day thinking we were just doing the radio Disney edit and then we were gonna leave. Like we did not know who was there. But yeah, she walked in and we had brought Max and Shellback these little like release you gifty things with like the cover on it. And Katy Perry like looks at them and she's like, "Oh, Megan and Liz, you guys are blowing up right now." What did I say?
We were just like,
thanks, Katy Perry. And then we had to go in the booth
and record, and
we couldn't.
We literally were screaming like to ourselves, just like in the booth. And oh my gosh! And then also Katy was wearing socks and flip-flops.
She was like so casual.
Like
very little makeup.
She was just like, "Oh, don't mind this situation," like talking about her socks and flip-flops. And she was very, very nice.
Very, very nice. So yeah, that was the coolest unexpected icon meeting.
Yeah, we're just talking like the heavy hitters in our realm were Taylor Swift and Katy Perry.
You know who else we saw at Conway that I completely forgot about?
Who?
Cher Lloyd.
We met her a few times.
But this one I vividly remember because she was outside smoking. She was like outside. I mean, everybody knows she smoked. I don't know if she smokes anymore, but yeah, she was like sitting outside just like hanging out and she was just like smoking. No makeup, sweatpants, just like smoking. And I was just like, "You're Cher Lloyd."
But we were so sheltered at the time. Like to see anybody smoking, we were just like, whoa. Especially Cher Lloyd because she was our age. Yeah. And she was like in our heads just like really, really pretty and like clean and like not that smoking makes you like dirty, but just like
and not it's like clean in like a good girl way.
In a good girl way. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Thank you. And we were just like, she smokes?
Oh my God, she's a bad girl.
Yeah. But I will tell you what, she is absolutely beautiful. Oh, in person, like I remember like standing next to her and being like, wow, I feel ugly.
I feel like an ogre.
Yeah, I feel like an ogre. Okay, so now we're gonna go into just random how did we get here scenarios that sound made up, but I swear to you they are not.
What are we going to kick it off with?
Let's talk about the zero-G plane. This was recent. This was a recent thing for us. And yeah, let's put this into perspective. I was in an airport the other day and I heard somebody talking about a zero-G plane.
No, really?
Did I tell you this?
No.
Oh, it was somebody who was like right in front of me and they were like, yeah, they have those zero gravity planes where you can experience zero gravity like you're an astronaut. Like, I wonder what that's like. And I literally said, excuse me, ma'am, I've been on one.
You did not tell me this.
Yeah, and I was just like, I've been on one. And she was like, what? Because it is so random and so strange that we have been on a zero gravity plane.
Let me tell you, the worst experience of my entire life. Not really, like it was really cool. Like I'm like for the first 5 minutes, it was definitely one of the coolest things I've ever done. Yes. I just barfed the whole time.
Here's the thing about the zero-G plane. You've got to know going in that like you've got to be that kind of like vivacious, adventurous person. And you've got to know it's like those people who are like climb Everest, you know? They're like,
Yeah.
I don't care about the physical repercussions. Like, it's all about the view from the top. Whereas, like, it's the same experience with the zero-G plane. It's like, you gotta not care about the physical repercussions, and you've gotta have, and you just want the experience. And that was not us.
But see, here's my beef with it, is that some girls on there, or I should say some of the people on there, were the me's, and they just barfed the whole time. But
I barfed as well, but not until the end.
exactly. But see, a lot of the people were just fine. Like, half the plane, I feel like, was like, I didn't get sick at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I should have known that, because I get really motion sick, like, in general.
Yeah. And see, and that's the thing, is like, if you want to do a zero-G plane, you have to be comfortable with your motion sickness and know your threshold of motion sickness.
I mean, even like my husband, he's like, when you guys said like, oh, I'm gonna go do a zero-G plane, he's like, I really kept it to myself. But I was like, you get car sick in the front seat of my Ford Explorer. Like, why are you gonna go do a zero-G plane?
So let's talk about how this came to be. This was obviously a content creator, influencer event, activation, campaign, whatever you want to call it. This was for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar.
So we did
love
a
Dr.
zero-G plane ride.
Yes, a zero-G with the zero.
Genius marketing.
Genius marketing.
Yeah.
Truly, honestly. And like, I love Dr. Pepper.
So do I. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't love Dr. Pepper? So we got this call from somebody who used to manage us.
Yeah.
And she just like had this opportunity come across her desk that she was like, I think y'all would be good for. And we were like, okay. And basically they were like, here's the budget. Here's how much we're going to pay you. And it's like next week. Wasn't it quick?
Yeah, no, it was a quick turnaround.
Yeah. And we were like, okay, we're going to do it. So we flew out to LA, and we just like were told to show up at this location, which this is another like strange little cherry on top, was to meet at the Beverly Hills Aston Martin dealership.
Yeah, because the Aston Martins took us to the airport where the zero-G plane was like taking off from. Yeah, that was cool.
It was very cool. But like, they also wanted us just to talk about this new Aston Martin SUV. So picture this: you like fly in, you go to your hotel, you get the information. It's like, meet at the Aston Martin
Beverly Hills dealership at like 6 a.m. or something. Yeah.
So we're like, okay. So we show up and we see all these people walk in. We've got to talk about who walked in.
Okay.
Tyler Cameron of Bachelor fame.
Such a nice guy.
The sweetest man. Truly so sweet, and more attractive in person, if you'd even believe it.
For sure.
He was very, very kind.
Very kind.
But we had no idea who else was going to be here.
Yeah, sometimes influencer things like that, they'll tell you who else is going to like be at the activation or who is like part of what you're doing. And this one, we had no idea. We didn't know if it was like 4 people. We didn't know if it was like 3 people. So
we didn't know if it was 20. We didn't know. It could have been just us.
Yeah,
we truly had no idea. But this, I will say, we were not qualified. if we're just talking pure numbers here, we were bottom of the barrel. Like,
you know what? But we were in the barrel. And that's all that matters.
We were at the very bottom, but we were there.
You know, bottom of the barrel is still in the barrel.
It is. I don't think that there's a single person there who had less than 1 million followers besides us.
No, I mean, I think some had like, I mean, it was like 600,000, but I'm like, combined, we had like 600,000.
Yeah, combined, we really almost got there.
Yeah.
But it was wild. So yeah, we show up, and then like we should have known about the zero-G experience when we get there, and they're handing us out boxes of plain bagels.
Yeah, they're like, it's good to do the zero-G plane if you have some food in your stomach.
If you have a good carb, like a plain carb in your stomach. And we're like,
and they're also handing out Dramamine.
And they're handing out Dramamine.
Like it's it's M&Ms. They're like, here, you want Dramamine? You want Dramamine?
And this is before we would get on the plane.
Yeah.
And then they're talking to us about like how they have ginger gum and ginger chews, and we're
And,
like,
like what to do if you feel like you're gonna be sick.
and all of us were just like, this won't happen to us.
Yeah, they're like, if you feel like you're gonna be sick, stop and raise your hand so that you can, so one of the instructors can like come over and give you a sick bag.
Yeah. And we both no, and they said at the end, and this is why I'm going back to say the 0G plane adventurers, like, you got to go in knowing, because they said that our plane, it was a record number of people who got sick.
But it's because we're influencers.
Because it was a plane full of influencers, like, and we weren't like these adventurous people who would pay, which I think it's around $10,000, I think, per person.
It's not cheap
if you want to do it, which of course we didn't have to pay for it because that was paid for by the brand.
Yeah,
but it's around $10,000 if you want to do the 0G experience.
But see, adventurers would do that, and they probably wouldn't get sick because they'd have like so much adrenaline, and like,
it's just a different breed of human.
It is. But again, it was like a really cool experience. Like, I really wish that I had a stronger stomach, because the first two little like dives that we did were so cool. Like, I was so upset that like it got ruined. My body ruined it for me. But
yeah, that's the 0G experience. Can say that we've done it for Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
This one I didn't realize was so crazy until I recently was looking back at my photos.
Okay.
And it was a flyer of a performance that we did for a Grammy after party.
Okay, so that was in like 2016?
2015 or 16, somewhere around there. Hosted by Emrata.
Did we even see her?
I don't know. Like, that's the thing. That's why I'm like, so like, wait. Like, it was hosted by Emily Ratajkowski. Like, we played a Grammy after party hosted by Emily Ratajkowski.
And we played that show, just like us and our guitar.
Yes, and I think we played one song. Like, they flew us out to play one song at this random little like nightclub. I'll have to find the flyer and we'll post it.
Okay.
But isn't that the most random thing?
Actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking back to that, I do remember her like coming out on stage.
But the thing is like, we just didn't really realize, I think, well, she wasn't nearly as famous as she is now.
Definitely not.
But like, saying that now, it sounds like two truths and a lie. To be like, no, we played a show with Emily Ratajkowski.
She was like the host.
She was the host.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
That was a weird one. And so that was just kind of like a weird thing that I saw recently.
That whole party, I remember just being like,
this is weird.
Yeah.
And that's just another prime example of like, we were flown out to New York City, the whole shebang, for one song.
And this Grammy after party, like, I don't even remember there being like industry people there.
No, it was literally just people watching the Grammys. It was so strange.
Oh my God, is that the one? That's totally the one where they put us up at the W in Times Square.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because I remember I always wanted to stay there, and we had like a view of Times Square. That was actually cool, like in a weird New York touristy way. Like, that was cool.
I'll have to look back at the flyer and see like the details, but it's a very strange one. Yeah. Speaking of New York, let's talk about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Oh my gosh, I mean, which time?
Exactly. I feel like we've talked about the first time a decent amount, but so let's like do a condensed version. Pretty much you're on a bus in the morning at like 4 a.m. You're gonna be full glam, the whole shebang. Well, actually, you know what? Everybody stays at the London Hotel.
Yeah, which is cool.
And it was the first time that we were ever paparazzi'd.
Yeah.
Those paparazzi did not know who we were, and they didn't care who we were.
No.
But it was because all of the stars who didn't live in New York or whatever stayed at the London.
Yeah.
And there's just a crowd of people outside, no matter what. It was fans, it was paparazzi, just like waiting for people to like come out.
Yeah, that was cool. It was early. And they were there like the night before too.
Oh yeah.
For like the rehearsal.
They were there for like the day before.
Yeah.
They were there ever since we like checked in. We spent our 19th birthday?
20th.
Our 20th birthday the day before the Thanksgiving Day Parade, which was so fun.
It was so fun.
Talk about like the bus experience and who was on it with us, because I remember.
Honestly, like, I was probably sleeping on the bus. Like,
No, we probably did have to get up at like 3 a.m.
One thing about me, I don't know if I've talked about this a lot, but like looking back, I would just sleep wherever and whenever I had the opportunity. Because like I'm a sleeper. So like that's a situation, prime example, if it was like a waiting situation like that, I would be sleeping. So I probably did take a little cat nap. Yeah. So I don't know if I remember who was on that bus.
All I remember is there was a celebrity chef on our bus.
Okay, yes. Yes.
It was, I want to say Sandra. I don't know. It was a celebrity chef. And I just remember being like, cool, a celebrity chef.
But all the buses were parked like right behind each other. And they like
in Central Park.
Yes. And they like put you on, they'd be like, oh, you're on this bus. And like, so you didn't know who was going to like pop up on your bus, basically. Like you knew who was playing the parade. And then they would just come and get you one at a time and like bring you to your float, that was so cool.
That was so
like
cool.
Seeing the float you were going to be on. It was like, whoa. And also, again, I think we've talked about this, but there is no option to live sing.
No.
They're just like, no, you're lip syncing because they don't have, I mean, you're on a float. Like they can't like mic you up and like get the sound right because you literally pull up to the same spot. Like it's.
And maybe they do now, but I mean, this was 10 years ago.
No, I mean, this past year they were
I mean,
lip syncing.
yeah, I can tell they're lip syncing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no option to really sing.
Literally right before you go on, they just like send up the little people, like the NBC people. They hand you the mics. I had a hairbrush in my pocket and some lip gloss.
And then also you don't actually perform for the cameras until the very end. So you go through the entirety of New York City.
2 hours.
2 hours in the freezing cold, like waving to all these people.
And also, you know, what I thought was so funny was you weren't allowed to sing or lip sync or play the song on your float that you were singing on the parade.
Oh, really? I don't remember that.
So, like, I remember we were really bummed because we were like, oh, if you hear my daughter in the background, I'm so sorry. We were like, oh, that's a bummer that we can't have Bad For Me playing on our float because that's how people would know us.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, our management was like a little bummed about that, but
I remember everybody was looking at us with an expression of who is that?
Never forget the girl that said, is that Taylor
Literally,
Swift?
I saw her mouth clear as day. Taylor Swift? Because my hair was like blonde and curly.
Yeah.
Don't disregard the brunette standing next to me. Like,
yeah, no, who's she?
Who's she? Yeah, no one knew who. We got a few like little we got like, oh, you know, like it's Megan and Liz. But for the most part, it was humbling.
And it was also really hard because we were the same height as the children on our float
that were standing next to us.
So we didn't stand out.
It was, it wasn't. No, but we were standing like, for the actual parade, we were standing more towards the front on our own little ledge. But for the performance, we were on the side with all these gorgeous children.
Like our height.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then they just hand you the mics, you lip sync. And also, when they stopped that float, I could have gone fanny over tea kettle.
Yeah.
Like it was like, and like now whenever I watch the parade, I like watch to see if people like stumble. And a lot of people do.
Yeah. And also it's a condensed version of your song. So you are not playing a full version of your song. It's like a weird chopped version.
And you have to like study it.
Yeah. Oh, I remember being so nervous.
Me too.
Yeah. Because you're lip syncing and it's a different version of your song that you've been playing a million times.
It's literally pieces like taken out and like it's weird.
Yeah. Very strange. But
we had a really good parade day though.
Oh, the weather was gorgeous.
Yeah. I think for the second one it was nice too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the second one we were like Snapchat correspondents for Macy's, I believe.
Yes.
And that was like just really fun because we got to go like where the floats were and where the balloons were and just kind of like bop around and like talk to people who were there, and like we got to meet Al Roker.
We did. That was really fun, and just like take content.
Yeah, we were just like taking pictures, like behind the scenes pictures of the floats and like all that.
And for that we like got paid.
Yeah,
which was crazy.
Yeah, that whole trip was really fun. And I brought Wit.
And we brought our mom.
Yeah, and we like hung out, and it was on Thanksgiving, and it was really fun.
Yeah, because you forget that like it is on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So for the first time that we did the parade,
such a weird one.
We had this is another situation that's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
We drove to Philly
Well, no, we took the train to Philly.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we took the train to Philly because we had a show the next day.
Yes. Yeah, it was the next morning.
Was it the next morning?
Yeah. At the ice skating rink.
Okay, yeah. So we had a show the next morning in Philadelphia. So we booked a reservation
On a ship.
at a restaurant on a ship in Philadelphia. And that was our Thanksgiving with our mom.
I remember it was really dark in there.
It was very dark, but I remember the food was good.
Yeah.
But it was just the
Like,
most
Happy
random.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Oh, one last thing about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. We were invited the first time to go to the balloon blowing up party, the balloon filling party.
Yeah, that was fun.
Which is like, they don't actually like blow up the balloons, and I'm sure they do somewhere, but like it was just like a pre-party.
It's just a party to
It's just a
celebrate
party,
it.
yeah. And this was at a time when we were going to tour with the Olympic gymnasts for the Teen Choice Tour. And this tour ended up never happening, which is so sad.
I still don't really know why.
Because they didn't end up touring either. Like, it wasn't like
No.
we just didn't get picked. It was just like the tour in general just like didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it was like basically we would have done music while they were doing gymnastics in like these small arenas, and it would have been awesome.
It would have been fun.
But they were all there, and like we have pictures of them, like us with them, and like that was so awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
Let's talk about, because this was a fever dream that I literally brought up to Megan recently. I was like, did this happen? And there was a period of time when we were in Los Angeles where we had a reality show pilot, and we at one point went to a meeting with Ashley Tisdale's production company.
Literally, No, and Ashley Tisdale was there.
Yes, we had a meeting with Ashley Tisdale. And for whatever reason, I like don't have a very clear memory of it, and it feels like it bothers me that I don't, because that is such an iconic thing.
I mean, I don't remember her, like, she must have been nice. Like, I don't remember. I have a snapshot of that meeting because she was sitting directly across from us. And I remember I was fangirling like I tend to do. And I remember I was actively trying to not look at her.
Yes.
Because I didn't want to seem like a fangirl.
Yes. Yeah. So that was
one's
just
crazy.
random. And that was a random time too, where we had that reality show pilot.
Does she even have
that production company anymore?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to Google it. It was her and her sister.
Yeah.
But that was a big moment for us. We were like, Ashley Tisdale, oh my God.
Yeah. Okay, I would love to kick this next one off.
Please.
So when we lived in LA back in 2013, the agency that we were with, they sent us out on a lot of auditions, which was actually really fun. Like auditions for TV and movies and just random stuff.
And when we say agency, what we mean is they represented us as far as like booking our live shows.
Yeah.
So that's what their main job was.
And then they were just like, oh, you know, if we see any, well, I think they asked us, they said, are you interested in acting at all? And we were like, sure. And so they were like, okay, well, if, you know, you get any auditions, like we'll pitch you, you know, if you get any, like you can go. We're like, great. So we got like a few over the time that we lived in LA. But my most cherished one that I will, again, my children will know about it. My grandchildren will know about it. Was for San Andreas, the movie starring The Rock.
Yes. And Alexandra Daddario.
Yes. She got the part. But that was so cool, especially because that's like one of my favorite movies now. Like I'm a disaster movie girly. And when I walked in, it was like a legit, because I mean, it was like a big movie.
Well, I remember when you got this audition, our managers were like, you need to see an acting coach, not because you were a bad actress, just because it was that big of an audition.
I did. Oh my God, I did go to an acting coach.
Yes, you did. It was because it was that big of a deal.
Yeah.
That like, and you had somehow like skipped the short list. Like the casting director actually really wanted to see you, which if you don't know anything about acting, like that's a huge deal. Like,
yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was a huge deal. And that's why everyone was like, you need to see an acting coach because you've never been in an audition before.
No, like a real audition like that. So that was so cool. Like I walked in, signed in. But as we were walking in, Liz came with me, of course, naturally. And as we were walking in, AJ Mashaka of Ally and AJ was walking out because she was auditioning for the same part. That was a top tier moment in my life because I was like, oh my gosh, I am on the same playing field as AJ from Ally and AJ. And like, there would be no Megan and Liz if it weren't for Ally and AJ.
Yeah.
So I hold them. I still hold them up here. So seeing her walk out, I mean, as if I wasn't like already nervous enough walking into this situation.
Oh, you hadn't done it yet?
No.
Because I think I stayed either in the car or like, no, I wasn't in the car.
You were like in the waiting room of the waiting room.
Yeah. Because I saw her. I remember seeing her too. But I wasn't.
There were like chairs outside of the room.
Yeah.
And you sat in those chairs.
Yeah.
So I like walked in, and then when I signed in, I saw her name on the list.
Oh my gosh.
And honestly, you know, Alexandra Daddario might have been in there,
but we
like,
didn't know her back then.
She had only done, I think, Percy and the whatever. What was it?
Percy Jackson?
Yeah, that one. So she wasn't really like her yet. So she might have been in that room for all I know.
Stop it.
But yeah, I was sitting there. I went into the casting and I read the scene. I still have the script somewhere. I kept that. And it was the scene in the movie where she's in San Francisco and she's like with the brothers in the radio or in the old electronics store. And I remember reading that and I mean, they don't give you much in an audition. They're just like, thank you. But
well, what was you got feedback?
I got feedback.
Though.
They said we really liked her. We're just looking for somebody with more experience. Because I mean,
it was your first audition.
Literally my first audition, and this is like a multi-million-dollar budget film. With
I don't
The
think
Rock.
you had a headshot.
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't have a headshot.
No.
You didn't have like a resume.
No.
Yeah.
So, but that was like so cool.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one.
I'm like, every day I'm like, was she in the room? Alex Daddario?
Maybe you should just hold it that she was.
Either way, AJ Mashaka was, so.
Yep.
Okay, I think next we should talk about the Kids' Choice Awards where we met One Direction. That was so cool. That was also, do you remember after the Kids' Choice Awards, they like, oh my God, before was weird too.
We met Ariana Grande that day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So before they brought us in that room with like all the little Nickelodeon stars.
Yes.
Like Ariana was in there. Jeanette McCurdy was in there.
Yeah. No, I remember talking to Ariana Grande. This was when she had the red hair and because she was on Victorious.
Yeah.
And I remember just like being like, oh, like, isn't it so fun to be here? And she was like, yeah. She's like, I kind of want to go home. Like, I like remember her saying that. I remember her just being like, yeah, like I kind of just want to go home. Like I'm kind of ready to go. Like, and like she was nice, but like that was her vibe.
Yeah.
So we met Ariana Grande that day.
Yeah.
And then we saw Justin and Selena. We did not meet them, but
that
we
was
saw
in the room
them
after.
That was after.
We kept getting like, is it because there were shuttles? I think that was what it was.
Well, we were also like guests of Fred.
Oh yeah.
Who, if you don't remember Fred from
on
YouTube,
like,
iconic. We had the same digital management at the time. So he had
Lucas.
Yeah. He had a show with Nickelodeon at the time, or like was in talks of having a show with Nickelodeon or something.
He had an in with Nickelodeon.
Yeah. So we were with him. So I think that because we were talent, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like we were ushered in with all of the talent.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, Justin and Selena, I remember they walked through that room.
I'll never forget
They were like holding hands.
Yes.
And like everybody in there even was like, oh my God, it's Justin and Selena.
Yes.
And I think Kylie was in there too.
Maybe. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But so let's zone in on the One Direction.
Yeah. So this was around the time that our What Makes You Beautiful cover
Had just come out.
Or had it just, it had been out. I don't know if it had just come out, but it was like popular. Like that's, yeah.
It was popping off.
Yeah.
Dare I say.
That was like their song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember we were standing on the carpet and we saw Harry and Niall like walk by and we're like, oh my gosh, it's a Harry Styles and Niall Horan. We were like, oh, it's the guys of One Direction. 2 of them anyways. And I remember like making eye contact with them. And then they stop and they go, oh, it's those girls from the video.
Oh my God, I forgot about this.
Really?
Yes.
No, they literally said, oh my gosh,
I'm remembering now.
Yeah, they said, oh my gosh, it's the girls from that video. And then like we stopped and we like chatted for a little bit and they were like, yeah, like someone sent it to us and like we like loved it. Like that was so cool. Like you guys like did such a cool job like with our song. Like we really liked it. And then we were like, thanks.
Harry Styles and Niall Horan.
Yeah. And then we were like, can we take a picture? And then we have that photo that I love. I love that photo. So yeah, that was really cool. Again, like what? Like Harry Styles at one point was like, looked at us in the eyes and said, you're those girls.
Looked us in the eyes.
And said, you're those girls that did the video.
Okay, this whole event is leading me to another event that was not on our list.
Perfect. What is it?
The Teen Vogue Young Hollywood Party.
Oh.
So we were guests of Shanae Grimes for this one. Which, you know, that was around when the Are You Happy Now video, because she directed that and she like brought us on the carpet, brought us to the party. And that whole party, that was like our first.
Picture this. We are 18. Were we 18? Yeah, we were 18 years old.
Had we even graduated yet?
I don't think we had
No, we had barely.
We had barely graduated high school.
Yeah.
We had just moved to Nashville, like probably 2 months before that.
Yeah.
And our label flew us out to LA to have this music video directed by Shanae Grimes, and then also to like give us both makeovers. So they literally they made me blonde.
Blonde.
Yeah, they made me blonde in one day, and this had happened the day before. And then they said, you're going to the Teen Vogue Young Hollywood Party with Shanae. And the thing about the Teen Vogue Young Hollywood Party is you purposely do not go with a manager or publicist.
Yeah.
Like that is the unspoken or spoken rule, I'm not really sure, of that party is
for the young talent and up and coming talent to mingle by themselves without management or
so
anything.
You're going in there with like with all of the like hottest young talent in Hollywood, and they don't have their crew, they don't have their managers, they don't have their publicists. Like everybody is just like standing there like it's a high school party.
Yeah.
But
luckily Avery was there.
Yes.
At the time, Avery, you know, go screw yourself, or if this isn't real, then give me back all the roses. Yeah. So she was there, and we knew her through like
she was another YouTube
friends.
creator.
So she was there. We hung out with her, and she was friends with Stephanie Scott, who was on Disney at that point, I think.
Yes.
And so we kind of hung out with them all night, but like Hunger Games had just come out, or it was about to come out.
No, Megan. Here's what had happened. I was such a Hunger Games fan that I was on Hunger Games Tumblr, just as one would be on like equivalent of like Hunger Games TikTok or like Hunger Games Reddit.
Yeah.
Like I was on Hunger Games Tumblr, so I knew who was cast in the film. I don't think they had started filming yet, but I knew that Josh Hutcherson had been cast as PETA, and I see Josh Hutcherson.
He was like kind of into you.
Don't say that.
He was. He kept like coming back to like hang out.
I know. And so at this point he had been in like Bridge to Terabithia, which huge film.
Incredible.
And you know, it's no managers, nobody, and he was just chilling by himself or like just like with one other dude, and I like walk up to him and I say, "Hi Josh, it's so nice to meet you." 18 years old, like the biggest fangirl in the world. I'm like, "It's so nice to meet you. Like, I'm so excited for your role in the Hunger Games. Congratulations on getting cast as PETA."
That's so embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing. But he was so nice, and he was like, oh, thank you so much. Like, that's so nice. And we like chatted for a little bit, and like I got a
just,
photo.
Like, kept coming, walking back up.
He was a
like,
fun guy.
He was like, what are you guys doing tonight?
Yeah, he was like a fun guy because we were all like the same age at this party. Like, that's literally how it feels, or how it felt.
We saw a lot of Pretty Little Liars cast that night too.
Yes, we did. And another girl smoking that shook us to our core. Sarah Hyland.
Oh, I forgot she was there.
Yeah, Sarah Hyland's smoking a cigarette we were rocked. You would think that we'd seen a ghost.
Was Debbie Ryan there?
Probably.
Which is funny because Debbie Ryan, like, actually, we eventually like ended up like seeing
Being
her
decent.
a lot, and like
we were friendly. We were very friendly.
like,
and like we had each other's numbers for a minute, and we would like text, be like, "Oh, are you going to this event or going to this event or like whatever?" But yeah, the teen, and then another to end it up with Josh. He like, I remember when we were walking out, he was in like a Jeep of sorts, and he was like driving by. He was like, "Bye guys, like see you later," like hanging out the side of his Jeep saying goodbye. So, Josh Hutcherson, good guy, sweet guy, sweet Josh. Man. Yeah, so sweet. Please, what did you just say?
Sorry, we were just trying to figure out off mic here like some other stories, and I completely forgot about this one until just recently. So we had a showcase in LA
at the Roxy Theater.
And Kylie Jenner was there.
Kylie Jenner has heard bad for me.
She's seen us sing it live.
Kylie Jenner has seen our faces.
This was Kylie Jenner before
King
Lit
Kylie.
Filler.
Before King Kylie. Yeah. This was
she was in our dressing room.
This was Misfit Sarah.
Yeah.
With Jaden.
Yeah.
And like all those people. If you know, you know.
Yeah. She was like in our dressing room at the Roxy.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
That is wow. Kylie Jenner has seen us with her eyes.
Yeah.
What a thrill.
That was a wild one. And then that was the same night afterwards. We went to In-N-Out and we saw Russell Crowe.
Was it?
Yes. Because think about the outfits. I'm positive it was that night.
Yeah, we saw Russell Crowe after that. That wasn't the same night as the Golden Globes.
Yes, it was.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, that was the same night we saw Russell Crowe at In-N-Out eating a burger in his tux after the Golden Globes.
But also that night, or this might have been a different night at the Roxy. I don't know that you're going to remember this one.
Okay.
The guy who played Corey on That's So Raven, like, wouldn't leave us alone. Do you remember that? Do you like vaguely?
Vaguely.
We were like standing in the parking lot, like waiting for our car, and like I just remember him just like not leaving us alone, just like talking about like the most random stuff, and we were like, "Okay, Corey from That's So Raven." I don't know this man's name. Sorry to this man. But
yeah, oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
The Roxy's a weird place, man.
A lot of weird stuff happens in the Roxy.
Yeah, Hollywood's a weird place in general.
Yeah.
Another awards show where we were nominated was the Teen Choice Awards, where we were nominated for what?
Choice. I think that was the Choice Country Song.
Choice Country Song.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of forget about that. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, we were obviously living in Nashville at that time. So we flew out to LA to go because that was really cool to like walk the carpet as a nominee is always really cool. So, I remember there were just like a lot of really big celebs on that carpet.
Yeah.
That was cool.
We saw the Kardashians in person there.
Yes, we did.
And that was a crazy experience. Like when you see the Kardashians, it was Kim.
It was all of them, I think, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Well, okay, hold on. We'd seen Courtney before. Courtney we saw at Jingle Ball. We were like right next to her on the red carpet.
Yeah.
And one thing about Kourtney Kardashian is she is tall.
No, Khloe.
Oh my gosh, Khloe.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, it was Khloe that we saw. Mm-hmm. And like I remember just being like, she is very tall.
She is tall. Oh, okay. I remember that because we walked right by her.
Yes, she was like, we were like
really okay. Yeah,
we were right next to her in the red carpet lineup. But that was at Jingle Ball. This was at Teen Choice. It was Courtney and Kim, I think, that were there. Maybe Chloe was there, but I just remember being shook.
We'll have to like go back and look and see like who all went.
I just remember being so shook at their bodies. Like seeing Kim Kardashian's body in real life is it's crazy. Like her body is crazy.
Yeah.
Like she's so small,
but her butt
is so big.
Yeah.
Like and she's so short.
Yeah.
Like it was wild. Like I remember being struck with seeing Kim Kardashian's body in real life.
That was just like a really good teen choice carpet. Like I feel like a lot of
that's where my picture with Zendaya is from. My favorite photo, me and Zendaya.
Totally.
Britney Spears was there that year too.
Yeah.
We didn't see her like on the carpet or anything, but like we stayed for the show and we saw her like accept her award.
Or was that the Radio Disney Music Awards that you're thinking of?
Ooh, I don't know. Oh, they're all blurring together.
I know. We presented at the Radio Disney Music Awards.
We did.
Which I forget about a lot.
That was
awesome.
Cool. And then also at the Teen Choice Awards, BB Rexa was sitting right behind us. And at this point, nobody knew who BB Rexa was. I was a big BB Rexa fan.
I think we knew about her because I knew of her because she was on that Take Me Home song, the Cash Cash one.
That's the only reason that we knew her.
But then remember we heard about how she got snubbed on the David Guetta song?
No.
How she sang on the Hey Mama, Mama, Hey Mama.
Oh, yeah.
But she wasn't on.
She wasn't credited.
Yeah, she wasn't credited. And she like wrote it, I'm pretty sure. And then she eventually ended up getting credit.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I knew of her at that point.
Yeah. But she was there.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, BB Rexa is here.
Behind us.
BB Rexa is behind us.
I feel like we went to so many award shows in Nashville, but they all blurred together. Like I don't know if anything like really significant ever happened at them.
Yeah, Nashville.
We shared an elevator with Kane Brown, I remember. That's like really the only like significant thing I remember.
Yeah. And like Nashville is like different than LA in the way of like it doesn't feel so random. And like these things like aren't as like crazy. I feel like in Nashville it's almost more like professional in a way.
Yeah, and you see each other so much that it's like, hey, like it's not like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's completely different. Like all of our Nashville stuff wasn't crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I'm sure if we really like were asked the right question.
I mean, the Mary Kay, when we were in charge of the Mary Kay.
Oh, the Mary Kay 360 cam. That was crazy.
That was crazy. And also, I felt so ill prepared for that.
Okay, so here's the situation. We were hired to be red carpet correspondents, which I know there's a lot of like discussion on how influencers are like taking over these professional journalistic positions.
Yeah.
And I agree.
I understand.
I understand because we were hired by Mary Kay to host the 360 cam live red carpet feed.
Yeah.
And we were given a week to prepare. I mean, it was quick.
But we weren't, like the thing is though, is were we given like who was gonna be there?
No, we were not. We weren't given who we were gonna be interviewing.
Yeah.
I think like right before there was like a publicist or something from Mary Kay, like right before the person would step up, they would be like, oh, it's so-and-so.
But sometimes they wouldn't.
Yeah. But like, literally, we interviewed Sharon Stone.
We interviewed Pam Tillis too.
Yeah.
And like, for some reason, it just didn't connect with me. I think I was just trying to like think of questions or like, I don't even know. But like, normally I think people have earpieces or they're prepped on like who's going. You get like a book of like who's going.
Yeah.
And
like, we are not professional journalists or broadcast journalism. And we were literally just thrown to the wolves.
But I mean, everybody was like really, really nice. And I remember being pretty well versed, but
because we like country music and we like pop culture, I don't think that there was anybody who we were like, I don't know who this is and I don't know who to ask. Like, I don't know what to ask.
And I think we pulled it off okay. But I do remember at the end of that night being like, man, I feel like I went into a test that I didn't study for.
Yes.
And I didn't know I had to study for it.
Like, they took a gamble on us because it was live too. Like, it wasn't like if you're on a red carpet interviewing, which we have done before. Like, we were interviewing for the American Music Awards.
Yeah.
And we've like interviewed other red carpet situations.
We've been in that situation before is the thing.
But usually it's like they'll take clips
Yeah.
of like who you interviewed and like which interview was best, and then they'll edit it together for a
Or
video.
or for like the American Music Awards, we would be off and then they'd say, okay, like you're about to come back on from XYZ and XYZ is gonna walk up.
Yes.
You know, like you were,
Yeah.
it was very like,
Yeah.
this is what, it wasn't so on the fly.
It was on the fly.
Yeah.
Live. Crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But we interviewed some really big people then, and that was insane.
But that's the thing about Nashville is I feel like everybody's just really nice and like
Yeah.
welcoming and understanding and
Yeah. But looking
Most
back
people.
now, like, geez, thank goodness we did a good job.
thank goodness if I was alone, I would have crumbled.
Oh. And it was rapid fire. It was like an hour of us just like standing there, like one person after another, after another, after another.
Yeah.
We'll have to post some photos of like who we interviewed.
But also I do remember I think it was just that the first year they did it. So like they had kinks, we had kinks. Like it ended up being fine. But I remember not being super proud of myself on that one. Like I was
Yeah.
proud, but not.
Yeah. And I think with that, that's kind of just a handful of the most random stories that we have. I'm sure we have a ton more. If you have any questions, I mean, I feel like if you want to see, like, drop a comment. Like,
I think you should end it on who you saw running in 12 South a few months ago.
oh, this was recent. Yeah.
just end it.
Dave Franco.
She passed. She was walking in 12 South.
I did a double take and I was like, this is the most beautiful man I've ever seen. Like, beautiful. Like, as in, like, his skin was glowing. His eyebrows were gorgeous. Like, he was beautiful. His face was structured. And I was like, this is a gorgeous man. And then I, like, double took and I was like, Dave Franco. So,
Thanks for listening, guys. And we'll see you next week for another episode of Noted.
bye.